Hello and welcome back to the channel with me, the Orienteering Kid, where today we're in Milan again for day 7 of the TOREMooS Cup. Yes, we're back for the 7th day of the TOREMooS Cup, which can be found here on the Tempo Simulator, the link to which can be found in the description. Now, the past 6 days have been very interesting, as I do keep saying, but Raymo is definitely setting some tasks that are challenging all of us, and I am really excited to see what he has come up with for us today, whether it will go back to being a quick one, or whether he'll stick with some of these slower, more difficult challenges. But yeah, let's just dive straight in, and we're going for day 7, which today is again a 1 to 4,000 map with 3 stations and a 4m zero tolerance. But there aren't actually any instructions for today's event, so I don't really know what to expect from any of the stations. So yeah, this is going to be very interesting. As always, I'll be putting my answers in the top right hand corner of the screen so you can see exactly what I'm putting at the moment that I do, and we will see how I get on today. The pressure is definitely starting to ramp up as we've only got 4 days left, so we'll see if I can continue to hold on to first place. But yeah, let's give this a go as we go into day 7 of the TOREMooS Cup. And here is station 1. Okay, we've got the lakes with the ends of the bushes, the trees at the back there, and we want that tree by the lake, and I think that must be the right tree of Foxtrot. Second branch round end of the lake, between those 2 trees is Bravo, and on the end of that bit of bush is Echo. Okay, so that didn't seem to have any zeros in that station, so I'm now slightly concerned as to whether I've got one of them wrong. However, I don't think I have at the moment. 20 seconds is slow again, but I think that was on task 1, checking whether the control was on the correct tree. But yeah, that's fine, and we will go on to station 2. Okay, it's completely different with the circle of paths around there, and we want that corner there is Charlie, all the way over there on that corner is Foxtrot. It's not on that tree, I made sure of that to start with, is on the wrong corner there, and it's not on that path junction. Wow, I believe there were 3 zeros at the end of that station. That's a nice little trick there, I think, sending us off to the right hand side of the second task and then bringing us back straight away to try and throw us a bit was good. But yeah, I don't think that's too bad, and we will go on for station 3. Okay, so we've got the end of the fence at the bottom there, we've got the pillars and the bits at the back, we want that corner, so that must be Echo. That bit of fence in there must be too far back, surely. That's the wrong container. That is the right pillar though, and end of the fence. Okay, so 52 seconds again does seem very slow, but that has been a winning score on some of these days. Let's just go back and check a few of my answers. So, station 1. I think it's a fairly hard station to start with, to be honest. I think we're on quite a low level of ground, so in terms of viewing it as if we're in a proper Traylo station, it's quite hard to properly grasp. But anyway, the first task comes up and we have to tree count along. Now, I'm going to do this the long way, because in the competition I was trying to use this bit being the final hedge to try and place whether it's this tree or this tree. However, if we count along trees over here from the 2 that are closer together where Bravo is, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trees, and we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trees there. So it must be the Foxtrot tree there. Yeah, so I don't think that's too bad a task. It's quite a nice challenging one to start us off with. We then come across to here and we want the end of the hedge. Now, as we established before, this is the first hedge in the set of hedges, and we want the end of the second hedge. So I think that must be Charlie there. The next one comes and we want the end of this bit of water here, and if Delta isn't there, I don't really know where it is. We've obviously got the one part of water here, then the bit of open land which Alpha is on to divide the 2, and then this second bit, and Delta does seem to be at the end of that, so that must be fine there with Delta. And then the fourth one, we want the between the 2 trees that we've we've identified to start with, so that must be Bravo. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of you mispunched there and put Alpha instead, because Alpha is quite in the foreground and it could be very easy to miss. And then finally we jump back and we use this end of the hedge that we've been anchoring off from the start, so it must be Echo. So yeah, I don't think I actually got anything wrong with that station. I possibly could have been a bit quicker with this first one, however I don't think that's an issue. I think this was quite a difficult station, so 20 seconds doesn't seem too bad for that. Now we move on to station 2, and we're obviously, I believe, stood on top of this circular bit here with all the fences looking out, and we have this bit of circular pathway here which must be the circles here, and if we are orientated correctly we want the corner of the two paths here, so that must be Charlie there. And then we do what I said before, which I thought was good, and we jump across and we are asked to identify this corner of open land miles away from where we were before. But the only thing over there is Foxtrot, and is it on the right corner? We want the southern inside corner, and as north is upwards we know that the shapes in the control descriptions must match up to the pictures, and so Foxtrot must be in the southern inside corner, and so the answer must be Foxtrot. We then come to these 3 zeros. I am being a bit cautious with these. 23 you'll see I did very quickly. Now during 21 I clocked that there are 5 distinct trees in the area going around the circle, and then the rest are mapped as scattered trees. Now the only 5 distinct trees I can see in the photo are these 5, I think they're coniferous trees here, and so the tree that we want must be one of those 5. Now the first task 21 was Charlie here, so we want the corner anti-clockwise round it, so we must be going for this tree here, and I can see that Alpha has been nicely placed on one of the scattered tree sections, but it is the wrong tree, so I believe that is a 0. You then jump across to 24, and I think this is good, again throwing us left and right to try and confuse us a bit, but we want the eastern inside corner, and you can see there's a bit of photo distortion there, but I do think that the area that we want is this corner here, rather than the corner that Echo is on, because the corner that Echo is on is a bit more rounded like this corner here, and we want the more pointier section here, so I think again that is a 0. I wouldn't be surprised if many of you got that wrong though. If you're going a bit too quickly or you're being a bit confused throwing left to right, I think that is fine. And then we come to the final one, and this is the one that I took the longest on in this station, and I'm not surprised, because we want a junction of 2 paths. Now if you look straight up and you look about in the right place, you will see Bravo, and Bravo is definitely on a junction of 2 paths. But is it the right junction of 2 paths? I don't believe it is, because the junction that Bravo is on is right next to this joining of the path here, which is this joining here, so I believe Bravo is about here in the junction of this path and the path leading to this small bit of paved area here, which you can just about see there, rather than the junction of paved area that we want, which I believe is just about here. So yeah, I do think that is another 0, and I think there are actually 3 zeros in a row to end that station, which I do think might have thrown quite a few of you. It definitely threw me a bit, judging by I still have 1 station to go and I thought I'd potentially made a mistake in station 2. But I do think Ramo made a good choice of putting this as station 2, because again the psychological aspects of it, which I did touch upon in a previous video about potentially swapping 2 of the stations to try and increase that, was definitely factored into this final station, which you will see I was definitely a bit longer than I could have been. But we will move on to this final station, and I do think this was a good one. The first task of this station was on the bit of bush here, and the reason it took me a bit longer than I was hoping for was that I was checking that it was actually the right corner. Now within 4 meters, that is definitely the right corner, whether it's on this one or this one. So I'm not too concerned there. However, it definitely did throw me slightly that north is going downwards in this station, and we want the northern point of it, which obviously Echo is on, but it did take me a second or 2 to realise that there. But that is fine. We then jump across to 32, and I believe this one is miles in the distance, but I'm going to verify that for myself now. We have established that we are here with this fence, so I believe Alpha is on one of these 2 pillars here, and we can only see one, so it must be the southernmost pillar because the northernmost is out of the photo. We then come across to this bit of wall here, and then move along to where there seems to be a bit of another sort of pillory shape here. Now I believe this is where Bravo is, because there is a bit sticking up here, and so the staircase that we want must be quite far back, sort of by this curve in the wall as well, and I think I can kind of see it about there, or that's a shadow, but I don't think it matters because we've proved that Bravo is definitely too far forward for it to be that. So I think that is a 0, and I possibly should have been a bit quicker there distinguishing that, but I think that's fine. It's better to be 6.3 seconds and correct than 2 seconds and have a 30-second penalty. We then come across to 33, and we obviously have the 2 containers in the centre of the circle, and we want the western one from the arrow that Raymo has very nicely put in the control description. But the western one is the right hand one in this photo rather than the left hand one, and if you haven't again clocked that north is downwards, you may think it's going for the left hand one, but no, we want the right hand one, and there's nothing on it, so that again must be a 0. And then we jump across to the pillar that I had identified before, and we want that pillar there, so that is alpha. Potentially this task could have been a bit crueler by putting it on the other pillar outside the photo. However, I don't think that was necessarily needed. We've already had 3 zeros in a row here, and to have another 3 zeros in a row would have definitely thrown me for the final task. But we come straight back across, and I think this is a very easy finishing task on the end of the fence here that we had used at the start of the station with this echo kite here. So yeah, overall I think it was again a very good day. I think the hardest station was definitely station 1, and again it definitely felt weird to be putting no zeros on a station, but I don't think that's an issue. I think that's fine, and I am actually very happy with today's outcome. And so with that, we will go back and we will have a look at the final results. Now again, I could be very high, I could be very low. 52 seconds does feel like a long time, but I think some of those stations were definitely hard, and again Raymo put in a load of tasks that could have tripped people up very easily. But yeah, let's have a look at the results, and I am in first again. Wow, that definitely surprises me. Again, I definitely didn't expect to be first. I may have been high, but I didn't quite expect to be there. Definitely because of the slower times though, and I think with the harder stations that's definitely not a surprise. But yeah, that is it for me for now. Let's see if I can retain the lead on today this time, and I will see you again later for the final results. Yes, we're back. It's the end of the event, and it does seem that again I never seem to be able to make it to the end without being pipped by someone else. But that is what happens, and well done to Marcelo for winning another event of the series. They were very quick times, so very well done to him. We will go through and have a look at some of the station percentages, and we're scrolling, and it's looking like the first one of this station was the worst answered, and it does look like it was. There was a bit of a scattering of answers here, but 62% of you managed to get the right answer with Foxtrot, and the most prominent wrong answer was 0. I'm not really surprised by that. I think this being what I would call the hardest station, when the first task is coming up you might be panicking a bit, thinking what am I going to put, nothing really seems to fit in my head, and in the heat of the moment you might just 0 it straight away. But yeah, I don't think many of them were too badly answered, although actually looking at it, the second one as well had a bigger scattering of different answers of Bravo and 0 rather than the correct answer Charlie. Maybe there was a bit of mispunching with the Bravo here, but we will see when we go back to it. And then for station 2, scroll down, and it's looking like the last one in station 2 was the worst answered. Yeah, it kind of went on a decline here the further we got through, the worst answered it was, with less than half of you getting the final task right in here. 309 going for Bravo and 273 going for 0. So we will go and have a look at that one, and also the task before it, with 161 of you going for Echo rather than the correct answer of 0. And then finally station 3, scrolling again, and it kind of looks like a bit of a mixed bag here. So seemingly the first 3 tasks of this station were the worst answered, but none were really badly answered, with 73% being the lowest percentage of any of these tasks. I don't think that was really the hardest of stations, although the wrong answers for the first task and the third task seem to be a bit of a mix of 2 different controls, with Foxtrot and 0 being the wrong answers to 3.1 and Charlie and Foxtrot being the wrong answers to 3.3. But we will go have a look at both of them as well. Now, just while we go back into this page, I do want to point out the minor violations banner that has appeared on the simulator. This is because there have been a couple of instances of some people cheating across the past couple of days. Now, I do think I should remind you here, like the banner does, that this is an event based on fair play. It is a 24-hour event, so everyone gets a chance to have a go. So please can you make sure that you are playing fairly in order to help keep the fun fine for everyone. Now, these two disqualifications do actually mean that both my second places from days 4 and 6 have gone to first places, which has bumped up my scores a bit, but it's bumped up everyone's scores, so I don't think it's really made a difference to the overall results. It just means that people's positions have gone up to the positions that they should have been in. But yeah, with that addressed, we'll go to have a look at some of the worst answered tasks of today. Now, the first station's worst tasks were mainly 1 and 2, and as I said before, I'm not really surprised by that. I think firstly the fact that Alpha is quite far to the left here means that you could have easily missed punched and counted one less along. So for example, with 12, quite a number of you put Bravo instead of Charlie, and I think really you just missed the Alpha kite and counted wrong. So that is something for you guys to look out for, making sure that you take into account all the flags. But I think I said this before with 1.1, I struggled as well to try and work out whether that tree was the exact tree that we wanted, or whether it should have been this tree or even this tree here. But I think when we count along with the trees, I think it's made fairly clear that it should be that one. However, this was a very hard station, so I don't think that many of you should be too disappointed if you got any of these ones wrong, especially in the early stages of the station. Now, station 2 started off very well answered with the first two, so well done. And then most of you got this first 0 as well, which is good. Now, this one was a bit worse answered, and I think if you were going too quick here, you would have potentially got this wrong a lot easier. I think just make sure you're paying attention on the exact detail of the centre of the circle and checking that you have the correct junction here, just to make sure you're going for the right one, and you're checking that Echo is in the corner of open land that you want, which in this case it's not. So yeah, just an extra thing to pick up on. And to be honest, I'm not surprised this one was the worst answered in this station. I think this is the hardest to tell exactly where it is, and I think because the circle sort of obscures it a bit, although I wouldn't say you would cut the circle here because there aren't any prominent features being blocked by the control circle, but I do think this is definitely the hardest to spot, and definitely if you've put 2 zeros already, you may feel very weird putting a third one. So yeah, I think this was definitely the hardest task in the station, but it's just again checking the detail. Am I on the right path junction? In this case, it's a no. And then finally, station 3. None of the controls here were particularly badly answered, and I don't think the issue here was particularly that you were misreading the controls. I think most of you were definitely going for the right control. However, I think with these 4 controls all being very close together here, it could be very easy to miss one of them in your counting and easily miss punch again. So for example, I think quite a few of you put Foxtrot for this task, but I don't think you were particularly thinking it was Foxtrot. I think you got it was Echo, but hadn't clocked the Foxtrot kite here, and so thought it was the rightmost kite in the photo and just gone straight with Foxtrot. And again with the final task, either you were counting backwards and you'd missed this one and just gone Foxtrot Echo, putting Echo for the final task, or you'd come from the left and gone Alpha Bravo, missed this one here and gone for Charlie. Either way, it could be very easy to miss punch, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of you did. But yeah, again, I think this was a really good day. I think there were definitely some different aspects of technicality that were thrown in, and yeah, again, it was another day that I really enjoyed. And now the last thing to do is finally go back and have a look at the overall results for the whole series, in which I have still retained the leads but opened it up a bit further to about 11.5 points. So yeah, I'm definitely starting to feel the pressure now a bit. I never normally have a run quite as good as this. I normally falter and make some stupid mistakes during the second half of these competitions, but I am very glad that I'm doing this now, and I'd like to think that it's because I'm recording these videos for you that it's making sure that I'm not making any silly errors that would go on camera. But yeah, thank you again for watching these videos. If you would like to like the video if you enjoyed it, and hit the subscribe button, it helps me out. You're getting notifications for all the videos I make so you don't miss any. And again, as always, comment anything that you think I missed from the video in the comment section below, and I will see you again tomorrow for day 8 of the TOREMooS Cup.